Hi, everybody. So, thank you for inviting me. I believe I made a course on blockchain in SAP because I basically went for in a fellowship internally. That is like I stopped my job and I went for 1 year to a team focused on blockchain just because I needed to gather all the knowledge to understand what's going to happen. My area of expertise is the business network, the procurement. I come from the Ariba stuff. And yeah, I was asked to just chat a bit about blockchain and SAP and what's happening. So I've prepared a very short presentation just to try to help because the challenge with blockchain is it's quite something very, very different than other things, and it's a little bit difficult to wrap your head around this. So I thought I could just do a very mini crash blockchain course in about 5 to 8 minutes, and to discuss this. And I'm going to just go with you in a second. What's important here is maybe even before I start, there are two different fundamental blockchain. There are private blockchain and there is open source or public blockchain. And how do you make the difference is if you have cryptocurrency in there, then you are in the public blockchains. That means that nobody owns the blockchain itself. It's completely public. It runs by itself on the internet. If it's a private blockchain, well, that's kind of a group of company or consortium or club of friends or anything like that are just sharing their computer time to run the blockchain, but there is no cryptocurrency needed for it. It just functions. So private and public blockchain. I'm only going to talk about public blockchain. I'm interested in crypto blockchain because those are very one that are extremely transformative at the moment, and they're big. they're let's say they're disrupting and disturbing a lot of companies, SAP included. So just so I did this exercise with colleagues. I just wanted to explain to them. I said, we're going to make a soup and it's going to be a blockchain soup. And I just want to show the principle of blockchain. So I actually passed them a piece of paper that they needed to fill. Each one had to fill a little bit. And this is what happened, I hope that the resolution in Discord is big enough for you, to actually see the text. But basically, in this sheet, I wrote the ISBN workshop. That was our group. I said, this phrase has 22 letters, and I wrote this here, and I started. So in here, what I did is I wrote my first name, Lloyd, and I chose an ingredient, potatoes. And then that's the ingredient I'm suggesting for this soup. If you calculate Lloyd and potatoes, there are 13 letters in there. And now the rule of this game, it's not a game, but the rule of this is that you have to add the previous number and write it down as a sum. So you see, I made a triangle. My numbers plus the previous one, and then the result, which is 35. And so I'm done. So I'm passing the sheet to my colleague beside me. He's called Lars. He did the same. 8 letters plus 35. We're at 43. And this continued. Each person at the table wrote a line and did that little calculation. And something happened a bit funny halfway through. Harsh here scratch something. We'll come back to this, but nevertheless, he wrote 11 and 78, and then that continued all the way. And then I had my sheet here of the blockchain soup. It was a 3-day meeting. We did this on day 2, and I actually in the evening I went to the supermarket. I bought all the ingredients there in a pot, using the microwave at the office. I made the soup and I served them the soup the next day. They had a blockchain soup. It was a bit weird because there is chocolate in those ingredients in here, dark chocolate in the soup. And I didn't put a lot, so it was edible. But okay. Outside this, what you saw here is the principle of blockchain. This is what it is. It's a block. A block is like the row. Every row is a part of data and a chain of mathematics with the previous one. You take the parent, you including to yourself, and then you write the result. And that's writing a transaction with, let's say, a block to make it simple here. And the mathematics that you're seeing here has actually produced some magic. You're going to see this looks stupid, but it creates kind of something that is very new in the world. Is if you look here, the total of 192 at the end of the line here kind of gives me an absolute proof that when Harsh wrote his thing, he wrote tomato. He did not write his last name, which was Sasanji, first and then came back at the end of the day and scraped his name and wrote tomato because he felt stupid. He did it. Tomato is the line, the entry that was written when it was his turn. And this 192 makes a proof of this because if he had written the other one, it would be 194. There would be 2 more letters. And if you see when he wrote it at 78, when Adam, the next one, did his thing and calculated the result of the next one, he kind of poured concrete in the sheet. He made a calculation in mathematics that blocked the past from changing. Because if you want to change the past, you need to change. If, let's say, Harsh wanted to cheat, he would have to also recalculate this one, and the next 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 one. And to do this makes it almost impossible. The principle of blockchain is this. You write a block, and you link it with the parent one, and the next one, the future, the children will do the same, and they all chain each other. So if you look at Bitcoin, the first block is block number 1, and I don't know right now at the end of my head, probably it's block, I don't know, 70, I don't know what's the number. The number is very big, but they are just adding one by one all the time. They're adding a new block, and Ethereum and all the other blockchains are doing the same. So I said the word here that's important, it's trust. This principle of mathematics, of course, this is very bad encryption. It's just little stupid mathematics I did for my sheet here. It's not very safe, but it is the principle. There's not much more than this in blockchain. It's a stamp that is linked with his past, and it continues. So when you arrive at the end, you have the absolute trust, 100% certainty that the result of the past has never been changed. Now, if this was a book of entry of money transaction, that starts to be very interesting to know that the last one proves that all the previous one has never changed. Nobody is trying to cheat what they had in their wallet in the past. It's kind of impossible by the nature of how this works. And maybe the last thing here, I don't want to be too long on this, but the last thing here is I said this is like an example of a mathematic rule. It's kind of a protocol. I said this is how it works. This is how blockchain works as well. It's just a set of instruction that someone created, and other people decided, oh, I'm going to deploy this on my computer, and another one, oh, me too. And they started calculating the block in some form and writing those stamps down. And the more people joined, the more people also participated. They all got a copy of the sheet, making it really, really, really impossible to change. So I hope I haven't lost you. So I'm going to just switch now to my other screen, where I'm just going to give you a live demo so that you can, if this works. So in here of how this works. So I'm going to ask you I'm going to make this big. Look at this green number here, which is kind of the same mathematic calculation I did before. It will change. I'm going to type LLOYD. Do you see every time I write a letter, the letter changes? If I go back, it changes. If I put back the D, it comes back. That's a fingerprint of the data. And that means that it's just the same calculation I've done. So just to continue, I'm going to add friends here. I'm going to activate them, some other people that will also participate, just to show you a number here later. So let's do a blockchain COVID status. I'm going to create the first block. And here in this data, I'm going to see unvaccinated. I'm going to click add new block. Look at what happened. The previous, let's say, code, the calculation finished by 4AAD. If we look at the one I just created, it has this past one we just saw, and it used this one and it created a new one that is this one. So this is linked to the previous. If I add here infected, same thing happened. This one has been used as the past to calculate the next one. And if I'm just going to continue here, vaccine 1, and I'm going to add vaccine 2. Then we have a chain. Let's look at the friends above. They all copied the chain themselves. They calculated along the way. And if I want to cheat, because I want to say here that I'm unvaccinated, look, it breaks the chain because it was not what it was, but it broke everything afterwards. So if I would try to do this, the friends that had already a copy of everything that has happened would not allow it. And so it's impossible to change the past. At the moment, I come back to this one. Which one was to this one, the second one? It was infected. It comes back to green. This is the valid chain. Blockchains is like this. It's a list of blocks. So it is not a database. It is, sorry, that's not what I wanted. It is not a database. It's like the book of Santa Claus that writes the deeds of everything you did as a child one by one. It's a list of entry. So it's not efficient. It's very cumbersome. It's not fast. It's a very cumbersome process. The only thing it gives is trust. And that's the only reason really why it's so important, because of that principle of trust of everything before can never be changed. So let's look just a little bit more of a real one. I'm going to skip this one. Let's look at this in real. So this is Ethereum. It's a blockchain that is able to host US dollar coins, US dollar equivalent of cryptocurrency. So it's the cryptocurrency that matches the value of the US dollar. It's not volatile. So, hey, I need $2 million. Yeah, sure, here it is. So you have 2.3 million US dollar, but it's coins, right? So US dollar equivalent. It's valid. It is legal. You can go to a bank and exchange it. It is perfectly legal. So 2 million on this transaction. It was done in 30 seconds. And it had a cost of a transaction. The cost to do this, you have to pay you have to kind of pay the internet. So the people who help make the blocks, they want a little reward. So you need to kind of help people that participate. So that was $14. So $14 for 2 million. It's quite cheap compared to the banking system. And then the last thing here, it's from, you see here, this code. It's the same as what we saw before. It's like a fingerprint. You don't know who that is because it's just a trace left, but it's from that person who could be in Brazil that sent this to Spain, to someone else in Spain. We don't know where they are, but it can be anywhere in the world. And they just did this on this open source protocol on the internet in 30 seconds, they exchanged 2 million American dollars. And what you're seeing here is a real transaction. This is not fake, and it's open source, so you can just log in, go to that page, and see this. That's what I did. I went there, I took a screenshot, and I made this in my PowerPoint. So this is cryptocurrency using a blockchain that is called Ethereum with American dollar equivalent crypto to transfer. And if you look at this, my friend, this is called having a superpower, because people who are able to do or play or do this and exchange money and invest in this and liquidity compared to the banking system. Put yourself, if you had sent, let's say Syria, you need to send 2 million American dollar to Syria for the refugees of the earthquake. Syria has kind of a failing banking system. There is a lot of hurdles in the world to send money over there. You won't be able to do it faster than 2 weeks, probably. If you are in the US trying to send this to the US, even the bank will refuse. It will fail. It's a nightmare. This will be in 30 seconds in Syria. So this is a superpower in terms of business process. It's really, really, really impactful. So what's going to happen? Well, everybody else will want to have it. So we see now more and more and more companies, big companies, small companies, a lot of startups that are finding this much more agile than you going through the banks. And this has a very big impact on SAP itself. So I spoke too much, so I'm just going to finish with the last thing to understand about blockchain. I said we're going to look at Ethereum. Ethereum is one of those. It's just a little bit more, it uses less energy than Bitcoin, less electricity, and it's just a little bit, it does more things. But if you think of it of being a tree, Ethereum is kind of a protocol that exists, but in order to run, it needs oxygen, it needs leaves. Those leaves are the cryptocurrency that is called Ether. And then this cryptocurrency exists. It has a value. It's about $1,000 or 15. I don't know by heart. I'm very bad at this, but it has this cryptocurrency that people exchange, and the people who help the blockchain receive this as a reward. This is how this is created. This Ether. But this blockchain is able to do a little bit more because you can use a template when you actually and you publish this on the blockchain, and you can create different other cryptocurrency. And you see here at the bottom, you have your USDC, US dollar coin, that we saw exchange, the 2.2 or the 1.2 million, is just a cryptocurrency that was configured on the Ethereum blockchain in a template. It takes about 1.5 minutes to create one of them. I'll show you a screenshot. To create a new crypto, well, it doesn't mean that it's going to have any value because you have to have people interested in it. But to create it, it's very, very simple. And that's the first part. So we are now in the world of token. That's what we call a fungible token. It means that it's like money. It's all the same. You can exchange it like a cryptocurrency, like a bag of rice to another bag of rice is the same. You don't buy for that specific grain. You buy the bag of rice. It's generic. So that's this one. And of course, the Ethereum supports the other model as well, which is what we might have seen at artwork and NFTs and CryptoKitties and all those things. But I've put in there just to tease you that this could be also a purchase order as an NFT, or an offshore wind turbine with maintenance as an NFT that is owned and maybe partially owned across a community of users that own this offshore windmill, wind turbine. So this is not just stupid artwork that costs too much and makes the news. It is entering the world of supply chain as well. And that's called an NFT, non-fungible token. It's something that is unique. A purchase order is different than another purchase order, but the money you use to pay on that purchase order is fungible. So anyway, that's where it comes from. And this screen here that you see here is just basically you can go online, you put this, you put a name, you give how many I want, 1,000. I'm going to call it the Lloyd Talk. It's the LLT. I'm going to say it's fungible, and I'm going to be on the Ethereum. I would click next. I have to pay a little bit of Ether to do this, and my cryptocurrency is valid, exists, and can be traded. It's less than a minute and a half to create a new one. So once again, this is the world of agility and ease of creating this. It doesn't need that it's going to be popular, but you can just still create them very easily. So I just wanted to expose you a little bit about those crypto. And now, because I've spoken too much, I'm going to skip this part here. Well, what I said is, in the world, if a little girl wants a 3D printer and the mom says yes, in the normal world today, she would go to Amazon or something like that, a big distributor. They would collect the different parts all around the world because this 3D printer is made by a community, and they would order all this and make it come to their warehouse. The distributor would receive all the parts. They would repackage this and they would send it to the little girl. That's how the world functions today. If you go into a blockchain world with let's call a smart contract, basically you deploy this in a template on blockchain. What you do is you basically give an order to send cryptocurrency to all those people, and they will send you one by one the parts directly. It's instantaneous, and there is no middleman. The middleman is going away. So once again, middleman is here with this in trouble with those crypto story, and the agility, the speed at which transactions are being done, and nobody makes money from the blockchain itself, or nobody owns it, is pretty much topics that are very, very disrupting for SAP. So if I bring back to SAP now, that was my last slide. I have to remind everyone that SAP is an operating system like Android or we are an operating system of businesses. So an operating system meaning that it's kind of very there is a lot of things that needs to be considered when it comes to innovation. So regulation, we're heavily regulated. So it's difficult. We're working through this. We have teams of lawyers looking at it, but the cryptocurrency, to hold crypto, is it legal? How much you do? Even us employee that when I made this course, the course I was talking about, I had to pay some. I could not declare it in SCP because it was just not possible. It doesn't exist. So they have to invent this, and we have teams looking at this. I'm just going to bring my bubbles here, but we are exploring getting knowledge. We have little proof of concept happening, but we are very much under the rules of regulation and the expectation of clients and what they need, what they do. So SAP is trying to become very much aware, having pockets doing this, but even having something like a wallet is something very challenging, and this whole world works without databases, and SAP is all proud of it, says for HANA. So it is a new world that is disrupting. So I'm going to stop there and open the conversation.
Yeah, I have a question, Joy, that we share through mail that, but as you say here about the usernames, do you think that the blockchain technology can replace totally the universal ID functionality?
It's already there. There is a topic here behind, I think, because everybody is having a no.
Yeah, we have a lot of fight with universal ID.
Well, the during Corona, I would assume that in Spain, if in Spain you had the QR code that was cross-border to other European nation. I don't know if any of you have traveled during this time, but I went to France and I had my QR code made and I showed it to a restaurant in France. They scanned it and they saw a yes and they let me in. This is decentralized identity. They didn't see my name. They didn't see this. I didn't have a username and a password to log in onto the app. It was used with my digital ID of the government. So this was decentralized identity. Basically, my QR code is a credential that was pushed to my phone only. It only lives in that QR code only exists on my phone, doesn't exist on my computer, only on my phone. It's a credential pushed to my phone that I show, and the credential just proves that I'm okay. But there is no username, there is no database, there is no transmission of data, and you have here decentralized identity example. And the European Union has an entire branch making this happen because they want to have every single process from passports to driver's license to birth certificate to be done this way. So basically, you don't push your own entire data to the other side. You just prove that you have the right. I did it today. I saw another example. I ordered some beer, or not beer, but some alcohol online, right? To a website that had some weird alcohol I wanted to have. And they needed to prove that I am more than 18 years old in Holland. There was a requirement. So what they did is they gave a QR code on the website. They said, scan this with your bank application. I scanned this with my bank application. My bank application said, do you agree to share your status as an adult? Not my age, just the status. And I said, yes, on my bank. And I click yes. And because of this, the QR code reacted. And they said, thank you, you're in. No name, they don't know who I am, they don't know, but they have a proof that I am an adult. That is decentralized identity again happening. So this technology is already creeping in, we just don't realize it.
But I hear something about the European Union is working in a regulation of like digital euro or something like that, but they are creating or building an European blockchain. But the problem is that it will be private. private. It will not be public. So the European blockchain will not be compatible with Asian blockchain or American blockchain. So we are in the same trouble than before.
Yeah, you're talking about central bank digital currency, right? So that this CBDC, central bank digital currency, the euro, but being emitted in a digital form. So yeah, you're right. So that's what you just mentioned is the biggest problem for this. It's because it's not so much that it's private, but it's more that they know it's not anonymous. So it's like if you look at a piece of paper of 20 euros, right? There is a code on that of that banknote, the paper one. And there's a code, but nobody takes a note that you have that one on your phone or on your wallet, right? And a digital central bank will do this. They will be able to link the code of that euro to who has it. This is how it works. So that's a big problem. That's actually why it's not there yet, because
Yes.
nobody wants it. I think Sweden, is it Sweden that is starting to look at making the Swedish krona central bank driven, but on Ethereum. So on the public, so they're making a central bank digital currency, but on the public blockchain to try to avoid this.
In Switzerland.
So this is not decentralized identity. It's another topic.
Yeah. And do you think that SAP is improving in this technology internally? Because at the beginning, I think that blockchain will replace a database, but it's not the real functionality. After watching your training, I realized that the real technology is the trust, the trust of the transactions and the relationships of the elements, not about the storage.
Yeah. So once again, when I say the trust, if you look at that 2 million that I screenshot that I explained, right? Transferring the 2 million, what happened there, that transfer between that person to that person in 30 seconds, typically you need banks to give the trust that it will work. The bank are necessary, forget blockchain for a second, the bank are necessary to give you the trust that my money will go to you and only you. Nobody's going to steal it. Nobody's going to change a bank account number. They are regulated by government and they still cheat. And we still hear about all the blah blah in the Swiss bank and blah blah blah. But nevertheless, the banks provide, what they do is much more the trust that it will happen than the actual. It honestly, it's kind. You have an Excel spreadsheet on one side, and you have an Excel spreadsheet on another bank, and then you just realign the two spreadsheets, right? That's all what they're doing. It's a bit more complex and it's database, and it's glorified, but it's really just what they're doing. But it's the trust that they provide that is the legal thing that is in the middle. This is what blockchain is actually guaranteeing that we will do, that nobody's going to steal because it's there forever. So people are using it to transfer 2 million. It makes the bank irrelevant. The banking and the way, at least that part. It won't make the bank go away because you still need to move your money from the real world to the crypto world. You still need to be regulated, that you are a human being, that you're not cheating. So all this work will still exist, but the middle part is kind of going away. If you were going to send a purchase order via the system, it's peer-to-peer.
The third-party solution.
Yeah. So you start working on the edges to connect and use the blockchain and augment the edges of, but the middle, you just let it be and live with it. It's not owned. The middle part functions by itself. So are you guys all working in SAP or doing stuff with SAP?
Well, I am working in SAP in a support department, giving support with a lot of customers in a SAP partner.
Yep.
And also working with solution manager and enable now solutions, training solution.
Okay, cool.
I work in a customer, in a utilities customer based in Italy.
Oh, you are in Italy. Okay, I didn't get that.
No, I in Barcelona. I know.
Oh yeah.
I am Barcelona, but I work for an Italian company, a utility company, Enel.
Oh yeah, Enel. Yeah, I
Or,
know. I've been there as well as sometimes. Yeah, but yeah,
uh,
and I have
mhm.
to ask the last one. Oh, I think we don't hear you.
Enric,
You're in mute.
now.
Cara.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Well, so go and explore. Well, it's not coming back to me. The Solidity. Solidity is the blockchain, the language that is used to write smart contracts. There are other ones, but Solidity is a very popular one to push smart contracts.
But here the point of view, I share that topic internally in the company, with the colleagues that are working in innovation and this college
And
department
they
and
threw
something.
knives at you. No,
Sorry?
I said, and they threw knives at you.
more or less. I have a few colleagues that worked 2 years ago in a solution to manage curriculums, profiles, consultant profiles, or student profiles, but they found that now at the moment there is not an open blockchain to share with everyone. And there are some people that are working on that kind of technology.
I missed the last part. Sorry.
So they are working in trying to move that technology, but there is a big problem with I share with you that not all blockchains are public. So a lot of people are working in a blockchain technology, but with
On
private,
private blockchains,
on private, and then they cannot share anything between private
No,
blockchain.
and that's the. I think in the course the UNICEF, the guy of the UNICEF is explaining it very clearly. He said there is too much problem with private blockchain that the members start fighting each other, and I want more this, I want more that, and then at some point it collapses. So in 2018 there was a lot of blockchains, there was lots of hype. Even SAP had one, and they were all private blockchain. We were tracking tuna fish in the ocean with clients, and we were doing a real POC on private blockchains. But then as the year goes, especially look at right now, every company in the world is trying to save money by stopping this and stopping that and stopping this. And believe me, if they were running a node of blockchain in private, they might say, "Ah, we don't have money for that. We would stop." And then the blockchain starts not working anymore. So that's the private blockchains. While you can't stop people for just having it on their computer, the public one, Ethereum, someone somewhere will run the block. So that's the difference.
Let's see what SIP develops for us in that part in the
Yeah,
future.
there is some POC being done right now. We are very much. I think one of the biggest thing we're looking at is the wallets. How do you integrate a corporate wallet? And because it's the key to the kingdom, right? If you're going to do workflows for your employees and they need to pay, and will have crypto in this world, you need to have crypto wallets that have permissions where you can have proof and someone can approve to actually release the fund and this and that. So it replaces the entire chain of approval, but it needs to be written and it needs to be part of smart contracts inside the wallet. So it is a world on its own, but that's pretty much what a big area where we're doing lots of R&D.
Do you think, David, that we can maybe in the future we can see the SAP certificates as an NFT in the blockchain?
There's already a couple SAP NFT and exist already. If you look on the OpenSea, you will find some SAP. They were released also by Jürgen Müller on some anniversary. I
Yeah.
have a couple, and
Yes.
then there is so NFT is not. You saw my screenshot, right? You a couple of fields and you press submit and you create an NFT. It's also almost that easy, right? So you can do it yourself. But SAP has released official ones. And there is, I think in Germany, they have, I think it's in Berlin, they have a user group where every time you participate, you're getting an NFT as well from as a reward. It's not doesn't have any value, but yeah.
A recognition or approve to join the group.
Yeah. So we already have some, and we already also have a small integration to actually accept crypto in commerce. So if a client wants to accept crypto for their web shop, we have an integration to a third party that will do the conversion of the crypto. So there is a couple of things that are happening, but like I said, it's very SAP is we're so heavily regulated that it's very difficult to actually do something, because you need to make sure that you're not breaking the law anywhere, and the law doesn't exist, so it makes it very difficult sometimes.
Let's see what happens in the future.
Yeah. It's not going away, right? So yeah. Yes, you were saying.
One last question from my side. It's related to the technology behind. Which is your impression related to the energy consumption? It's in terms of sustainability, that it's a keyword that it's very on the top of every speech, also from SAP side. So
yeah, absolutely, you're right. So the first answer to this is, it is not blockchain, it is Bitcoin. That is really an energy hoarder. It's Bitcoin, the blockchain Bitcoin. The Ethereum that I showed, they switched not too long ago. I think the entire energy consumption worldwide for 1 year is equivalent to one electric windmill. There's not more energy needed. They changed the way. So where you saw that when I did my little soup, I was doing mathematics, right?
Yeah.
The reason it takes energy is you when you create a new block, you need to do some mathematics, and you need to do kind of a guessing game. Like, the system chooses a number, and your computer needs to guess the number. And the lucky one that finds the good number will win the crypto for that block. That's how mining works for blockchain, for Bitcoin. So and then that guessing game, then the next one block starts, everybody starts guessing and that calculates the block, and it does everything it needs to do. But part of this guessing game will give them, the one that finds it receive the crypto. So there is this lottery principle under Bitcoin to write the block, to motivate the people to participate, but it's got a catch. Bitcoin wants to have a block every 10 minutes. That's what the protocol wants. It wants every 10 minutes a new block. That's the frequency that it's about to have it. So it actually makes the guessing game more difficult if there is more players, to make sure that they don't find it too quick. So they add zeros. So you have to guess from 1 to 1,000, that's easy, to 10,000, that's more difficult, to 25 million, that's more difficult, to 3 billion, that's more difficult to guess the game. So it adds zero to the guessing game to just make sure that if you have 1,000 people playing, it needs to have a certain amount of complexity and statistics to still have it once every 10 minutes, the guessing game. And so you see, the problem is that as it became popular, and that China was actually really trying to mine, a lot of people came, and the blockchain became more. And this guessing game is using your computer CPU. It's using your CPU. And the more complicated mathematics, the more computer time it needs, the more electricity it needs. So it's a vicious circle of consuming to guess the game to make money. And if there are many more players, the game is becoming more complicated. So it's a double evil and that is the problem of Bitcoin. And that is what is making the news. This principle of and then that's why people have done. They thought that even paying a coal mine just for the energy to run Bitcoin, they were still making profit. So the other ones, Ethereum has another mechanism. So I'm not going. It's more complicated to explain.
Okay.
But it has another mechanism, and it doesn't use that much. It's like I said, the entire energy consumption of Ethereum 1 year is, I think, 1/10 of the Visa credit cards around the world. So the energy consumption is Bitcoin. It's not blockchain.
Okay.
It's the first one of the.
Okay, thanks.
So
I'm a little confused.
thank you very much for your session. So today, the blockchain technology, if there are a huge of adoptions, is not spread a lot. So there are a lot of people and companies that still refuse to use it, and the main problem is the how you say legally or
legality. It's legal.
The legality.
It has risks. So as long as
it's legal and that all the information is public, everyone can see what you can do. So it internally in SIP, it will be very
it
hard.
is still not going to go away, right? Because we're seeing innovators that are at the moment very successful. It runs. There is principle of supply chain, or the process of purchase order to invoice is emerging right now on blockchain and carbon tracking. So there is lots of interesting things that are happening. So this is not going to go away. It's just a matter of time. I say, if you probably, I don't know if you've seen if you're old enough to have seen Napster, when Napster came on the internet. And Napster and all the record company at the time, the CD companies said, that's not interesting. And Napster actually took the world, like ChatGPT just did it. So Napster did the same. And I say that blockchain at the moment has a bit this, we're in the same timeline as when Napster became very popular. We're in 1998 with blockchain today. So just push yourself in 2005. Then all the industry, the CD had disappeared, and it was MP3 all over the phone and and all over the place. The MP3 players and the mobile phone were starting to maybe think about having also music, right? So this is the timeline that we're in. We're around 1998 when it comes to Napster, but on the blockchain space. So, and I think with ChatGPT and all the image creation, stable diffusion, all the new technologies that are coming up, there will be such a need for identity or for proof that I made this. I've just showed you how to make it. You make the proof, you make an NFT, and you prove that it's yours and that make it, and it's there forever. Nobody can ever see that. So this world, I suspect, is going to become a big thing.
I will forward a request to the SIP training department to trust through blockchain the SIP certificate, because it's quite crazy now in the normal procedure. There are a lot of things in SIP that could be better with.
I know.
Using this kind of blockchain technology. So thank you. We expected to have more attenders, Joy.
It happens. You know.
We record the session. We will share that through in your YouTube. We can share it to you through email, and we also publish through Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on. And David, you told that we can also share your Open SIP training to share.
Yeah, Open SAP. Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, of course. It's still there, so it's.
Absolutely. And I don't know. I don't know if TechEd will come back to Barcelona late in October, November. We don't know. We still don't know that. If we have, because we organize SAP Inside Track Barcelona around SAP TechEd. So if we have the opportunity to be here in SAP TechEd Barcelona, for sure you will be invited to our SAP Inside Track Barcelona.
Well, absolutely. Cool.
See, David would like to see more about bitcoins.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
the
yeah,
ener-
yeah, yeah.
and the
Oh,
energy
we have
behind.
internal fights internally about Bitcoin, so it's a big. Everybody has a controversy about Bitcoin.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
Have a good
Joy.
evening, eh?
Yeah, have a good evening. Take
Very,
care.
very appreciate, Joy. Thank you.
You're
Thanks a
welcome.
lot.
Bye bye. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye bye.